Good morning. And the intent of calling for this presentation or this meeting was that all of you are expected to present your work on Friday. So this is the group of M.Tech Capstone students, M.Tech Thesis students, and then all the M.Tech and B.Tech students who are doing IP or IS with me. Okay. So we've had this kind of a presentation earlier. Not all might have attended at that point of time. So I thought it could be a good idea to share with all of you what I expect in this presentation. So all of you will, I am counting on it that you have filled the Google form that was floated on the group and have indicated that you have this project that is ongoing. If you have not filled that form yet, please do that right away. Uh, After that, Talha will come back to you and tell you the schedule of the presentations. The presentation has to be finished within the stipulated time. So if we tell you that your time of presentation is for 5 minutes and then 2 minutes of question answers or 3 minutes of question answers, so you have to finish your part of it within 5 minutes. Now I may ask you questions and that may take more than 3 minutes. That is a different thing. But we will time you out at the timeline. Okay. So uh, there are two aspects to this entire exercise. One is that you have to make this presentation, a short presentation, which talks about your work. And the second aspect is that you have to present that work. So we will look at the first aspect first as to what am I expecting in the presentation, in the contents when we talk of the presentation. So this is the, I think for all of you, this is the kind of end of your work. For the MTech thesis students, this is still the intermediate presentation. This is not your thesis defense. But for all capstone students and obviously IPIS students, this is the end of the semester. So this is your end of work. So what I expect is that the first slide that you are making. Now, let me first talk about the capstone and IPIS students because you are closing your work in this semester itself. So the first set of things that I am expecting is that you have to talk about your problem statement, the context of your problem. Uh, why is this a problem? What was the problem? How it is to be solved? Or, what is the key objective of your project? That should be the first slide. Then you have to talk about in the next slide or in the first slide itself, you can talk about what is the state of the art. When I say what is the state of the art, I mean when you started working on the project, you had done some literature survey, you had done some studies around it. So what is the state of the art? And then you go ahead and talk about what did you do? So a quick one slide on what did you do, and then one or two slides on your results, observations, and analysis and synthesis. One slide on what are the next steps? How can this work be continued? What is pending? Or what could be the next logical steps in which your work can be extended by some other students? And so on. And now this is for everyone. Whenever you are referring to a paper or when you are referring to results from somewhere else, the reference has to be put on the same slide itself. Okay. We are not talking about a paper where people will just flip over the pages and see where the reference is coming from. In terms of presentations, whenever we talk of a presentation, the references have to be on the same slide where the topic is being talked about. Okay. So this was about the capstone projects and the IPIS projects, which are technical in nature. Now let us come to the thesis project. All the thesis projects that we are doing are related. They are one theme. So Amongst you, decide one person who will introduce the theme. Okay. So I will ask Talha such that he will arrange all the thesis presentations in one group. Okay. Each one of you have to present independently, but one of you has to present the theme as to what is sustainability, what is embodied footprint, what is operational footprint, and what is it that we are doing as a collective group. So one person presents the theme. You can use 2, 3 slides for presenting the context of this theme. And then now you are like anyone else. Okay. And all the other thesis students also have to do this, which is uh, present the the circuit or the topic that you're working on, talk about the state of the art or the different architectures or the different variants that you want to talk about, and then quickly jump on to the work that you have done, which could be you could display the layouts, you could display some synthetic tables of the results. So that could be one slide. The results would be at most 2 slides. Okay. So one slide per person, per thesis person on your circuit and the range of things, range of experiments that you have done. The second and third slides could be on results, consolidated results, or the work that you have done. And then the fourth slide should be about how does the embodied footprint of your designs of the different variants that you have compare amongst each other? How does the operational footprint compare amongst each other? And then according to you, which is the best? Okay. Now the first person has already introduced what is embodied footprint and what are we considering into it. He or she has also introduced what is the operational footprint and what are we considering in it. So the formulae they have already introduced. So no one else needs to spend time on these formulae. So you do that, and then you could add one slide on extras that are linked to your project. For example, you could say that in addition to this embodied footprint and operational footprint, I have also done some work on aging related stuff, or I have also done something on XYZ. In this slide itself, you should also say how your work can be extended. So you may have started to work on aging. You say, I have started to work on aging, but this is not done. Extend this work. I do not have full results of it. Or I have these results of aging. And you can, I think this is so much more that can happen, not just in aging, but in reliability or in this or in that. So how to extend your work should come on that slide. So again, each one of you are making not more than 4 or 5 slides there. One person amongst you is making an additional 3, 4 slides. Now that could be that you could do collectively also. I have no problems with that. But one person is introducing the theme. All the others are simply talking about your work. Okay. So this thesis group, you will all come one after the other. Okay, so we do not want repetitions again and again of the what is the formula for embodied footprint, what is the formula for operational footprint, and so on. We do not want those repetitions. We want to be quick, crisp, and sharp. Okay, so I repeat, whether it is capstone students or thesis students, individually, all of you are presenting, starting with your problem statement, what was the state of the art, or what you are comparing your circuits with, what are the experiments that you are intending to do, then your experimental setup or your uh, whatever you did in terms of made layouts or whatever you did, and then finally the results, 1 or 2 slides on results, synthesis of those results, your conclusions from it, and then one slide on how can your work be extended. Okay, so this is what the presentation would look like for majority of you. Now there are a few students of IP and IS who are working on entrepreneurial ideas. And in this one semester, if you are starting with your entrepreneurial journey, then you might have just done some literature survey, or literature survey means some competitive analysis or some market analysis and things like that. So you would talk about, so you would first, in your first slide, you will talk about the problem that you thought you would want to solve. Okay. Then in the next 2 or 3 slides, you will start to talk about the competitive benchmarking and where do you think your niche could be. Okay. And in the fourth, fifth slide, you could talk about your business model canvas. And the last slide, that is, you could strategy diamond, etc. And then in the last slide, you're talking about what are the next steps for you. Okay. So again, this is about 5 to 6 slides for you, no more than that. Is that okay? Now, this is about what are the contents of your presentation. So I am not expecting any one of you to make more than 4 or 5 slides, except probably one person who is doing the thesis and is consolidating and is introducing the topic. Now, amongst the thesis group, we are all on one group. If you are not able to identify who this one person is, it's okay. Okay, I will help you with that. But ideally, just one, we make the context of thesis presentations only once, not every time. Okay. Uh, Now this is about what are the content of your presentations. Uh, Let me also share something about how your slides should be. Okay. In any of your slides, none of your fonts should be less than size 14, 1 4. Okay. No font size should be less than 14. If you are using showing graphs, ensure that the axes of the graphs, the X and Y axis of the graph, are clearly labeled and the font size of the label is more than 14. When you are showing graphs, it is also good to overlay them with some, circles, clouds, stars, whatever, which kind of summarize the trend. Okay. No slide, no slide should have more than 6 statements. And when I'm saying 6 statements, it is a slide which only has statements. If you also have a figure or something on it, then probably the number of statements should reduce. Okay. So no slide should have more than 6 statements. No statement should have more than 6 or 7 words, at most 10 words. In a presentation mode, when we are talking about a presentation and you have only 4 to 5 minutes to present, 6 minutes to present, and you have to present 5 slides, then there is nothing more than this that you could do in any one slide. Okay. So no slide should have more than 6 or 7 bullets. No bullet should have more than 8 to 10 words in them. And I am not expecting you to read from the slides. Those bullets are pointers. You may not read anything and you may just summarize, there are 5 bullets in a particular slide, and you may simply summarize that slide in 2 or 3 sentences and you may want to go to the next slide. That is absolutely fine with me. Okay. I do not expect you to read the slides. Okay. Make the slides as, how would I say, visual as possible. Try to reduce the content as much as I've already put a limit on how many bullets and how many words per bullet. But I would say if you can have your slides which are completely visual with just a few clouds and stars and boxes here and there which have some text in it, um, that is good, because you do not have too much of time, and visuals, figures, they explain the context much faster in a much more lucid manner if they are well labeled than statements. Okay, so try to make your slides as visual as possible. Okay. Now, how to be. So this is a presentation that you're making. Uh, I would not say that you need to be formally dressed. You don't need to put on a blazer or a trousers and a tie. No, no, that is not required. But you need to be presentably dressed. Okay. You should have your hair combed. You should have, you should trim your beard or, tie your hair neatly if you're a girl, and wear decent clothes. No torn jeans. Do not come in slippers. Do not come in shorts. Be presentable. Okay. You are making a presentation there. So you have to be presentable yourself. Uh, then, if it is a group that is presenting, for example, it is two or three of you who are presenting your capstone project as one presentation, then it could happen that the results are all consolidated in one go. But I would expect each one of you to be talking at least one slide about what you did in the semester. Okay. So for example, there could be one team working on RAM, and that team has two people or three people in it. So I do not want to see a lot of technical details about, oh, this is my circuit, this is this is that. No. I know your mentors have already validated those things. I'm interested in your results. I'm interested in what all verifications you did to justify that these results are valid. Okay. And each one of you should have at least one slide in your presentation, in your project presentation, which you are individually presenting. So suppose Capstone RAM Capstone project, you make the 5 slides as I just talked about, or 6 slides, and then you add one more slide where the other person also presents separate. So where each one of you presents separately what you did, okay, and what was your key learning from the project. So each one of you should be talking about your key learning, what your key take back from the project, and so on. Similarly, for example, some of you might be doing IPIS as a collective group. So again, as a collective group, even if you're doing, I expect one slide for each one of you, which you are presenting about what you did. Okay. So it may happen that as a team, overall, the presentation, all the 5, 6 slides, one person is presenting. But when your slide comes, then you have to come to the front and you have to present. Is this clear? So you have to be, again, presentation. It is good to speak in English, but that is not a mandatory requirement. What is definitely mandatory is that whatever you speak is logical and connected and makes sense. So even if you need to use Hindi, so I understand Hindi, English, and Punjabi. Okay, so Punjabi भी बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं आती है. So you can talk to me in English or Hindi, but whatever you speak, it should be comprehensible. I do not want you to fight with English and then speak some mumbo jumbo nonsense. If you're more comfortable in Hindi, you can present your work in Hindi. The slides are in English anyways. Okay. But you don't need to take the burden of speaking in English if you are not comfortable. Or whatever you are comfortable, you speak in English, but you can use Hindi English mix. That's absolutely fine with me. Language is not a botheration. What is important is I should get a clear understanding of what you wanted to do, what you did, what was the outcome, and how can your work be extended. What was your key learning and how can your work be extended? These 3 or 4 things I should have a clear view of at the end of your presentation. Is that okay? So in a big broad sense, this is what I am looking for. If you have any questions which I have not answered or which you would want my view upon, please feel free to uh, speak and ask. No questions? Everything was very clear? Yes, Harsh.
Sir, me, Aryan, and Abhishek were doing the Robify project, and
Mhm.
Aryan had taken BTP, and me and
Okay.
Abhishek both have IPs.
Mhm.
So, can we present with Aryan only, or we do individually?
So it would be a good idea to be with Aryan when Aryan is presenting his work and the
All right,
poster there down there. But I would also want to, because see, for Aryan, the committee will anyway give a grade. They will have a judgment of how much work Aryan has done. So you can be there. You can talk about different aspects of what all you did also in the to the committee. Uh,
right,
However, for IP and IS, I am the only person who has to evaluate and give the grade.
right,
So you have to come and present here also.
right. So we have to do individually, like me and Abhishek have to do individually.
No, that can be one presentation on Robify. As I said,
All
four,
right,
5 slides total. But Abhishek
right,
has one slide and you have one slide,
all right, all
which
right.
is
So
specific.
we show a division of work that what we did.
Division of work, what did you learn? Yeah.
Yeah, all right,
Okay.
all right. Thanks.
Yeah. All the best. Anyone else? Yes, Vansh?
Sir, in my project, Capstone project, I did calculated all those coverage in terminal, that is the Visual Studio. So
Mhm.
can I directly output those terminal snippets showing coverage in my presentation for presentation only?
I do not know, Vansh. If you think it is visually appealing and presentable, and and even if they're not fully legible, for example, you could overlay those images with text so that the key message that you want to show is is available. It is fine. But as I said, I want the total number of slides to be limited to 5. Okay. So if you think you would want to show it through that, through those snippets, and they are good enough, and they are, uh, and those 5 slides total means only probably one or two results, slides for results. Okay. So if you think you are able to summarize by keeping those uh, snips or what do you say, image outs from your tool, that is good for me. I have no problems. But you cannot say that, oh, because I am showing these snippets, I am using 10 slides to show you 10 results. No, I'm not sitting there for that. If there are 10 results that you want to show, either summarize them into one table or a graph or something like that, or don't show these snippets. Whatever it is, total number of slides you have is 5. We will time out after the end of your presentation. So if Tala allocates 5 minutes to you, then 5 minutes is what you have to present. Remaining time is free for me to ask questions. Okay. So you take your call. I do not know what exactly you want to present. You take your call. These are the guidelines.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Harsh.
Yes, sir. So, since in my IP, I had a lot of work which included visual tasks, as in which results I will have to show in terms of. I cannot explain it in layman English terms. So, how
Mhm.
would I be showing it in presentation? That's what I was going to ask.
So if there is a demo that you can show, 30 seconds video, 1 minute video, that is good.
That would be fine, right? Like
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
if there's any website, just a 30-second video of how the workflow goes on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Others? So it may happen that you want to show a lot of images, and when you want to put those images on one slide, each image will become very, very small. So in that case, what you could do is you could do an animation mode, okay, where you show one image and then the second image, And then when you want to show the third image, it kind of comes above the first image, and then the second image, and so on. So in this way, what happens is that even if you're showing 10 images, uh, you can ensure that each one of them is big enough that it is legible and it makes sense to the audience. Is that okay? So that is one trick that people use to have more images or content available on a slide, uh, while still maintaining everything as legible. Yes, Abhishek?
सर जैसे जो एम्बोडेड में थोड़ा सिमुलेटर टाइप बना है वो कैलकुलेटर तो वो भी आएगा वो जो 3 स्लाइड्स एक्स्ट्रा डलेंगी उसमें
That can be put in the first 3-4 slides itself. You can give a demo of that there itself.
ओके सर
Okay. So in the presentation on Friday, I'm also intending to invite the next batch of students who could probably take up your work from where you are leaving. Okay, so it is extremely important that you present that last slide, and when you're presenting that last slide, you also say where your work can be extended to. For example, you could say that we have evaluated 3 algorithms, or we have evaluated 3 topologies, and there are 4 more, or things like that. Okay, or there is we have evaluated on 3 particular aspects, and there are these 2 aspects which are also important, which could impact the overall final output, and therefore that is the way to extend my work. So this aspect is very important. Anything else?
सर जो थीसिस के टॉपिक होंगे लाइक वो सबके ऑन द प्लेटफॉर्म वो तो सेम है बट लाइक प्रेजेंटेशन के टाइम हम क्या लिखेंगे ऑन द स्लाइड
So okay, so this presentation, it's mostly of friends and juniors who are there who will be looking at it. You do not need to have a separate slide. I had never said you want to make one slide for just the title of your work. Okay, you directly have your first slide and you're talking about, okay, flip-flops, for example, or charge pump, or this or that, and that's good enough. So as you come, your name is there on the first slide, roll number is there on the first slide, and this title is also there in the title of the first slide itself, where you say, okay, I'm working on flip-flops, and then you do a click and the animation comes and you show the different topologies of flip-flops that you have worked on, or you talk about the context in which you're talking about flip-flops. For example, Najib could talk about I'm doing it for IoT, and Piyush could talk about I'm doing it for HPC, and so on.
ओके सर
Okay, anything else? So then, all the best, friends. That is your day. You will be presenting not just to me, and not only for your grade, but also to your juniors, and in a way, ensuring the longevity of your work. Many of the MTech students will be leaving for your uh, internships in January. So if you are able to excite someone to take your work forward, then if you have not yet been able to publish a paper, or not yet been able to identify an idea which could, or get the complete results so that a paper could be published, then if through your presentation you excite someone, and that someone can also be a partner in the paper that you finally get to publish with them. Okay, so use this as an opportunity to also share your work, and kind of invite others to also contribute to your work when you are moving out. Okay. So all the best. Then all of us are already on group. So if there is any pending question, you can also ask the specific query on the group. Otherwise, I think the guidelines that I just gave should be able to help you with the presentations on Friday. Okay. All the best. See you then.